All right, so I'm making this video because I woke up today and OpenAI chose violence. They opened the floodgates. So let me get right into it. I woke up and I saw this X post or Twitter post, whatever you prefer, from Tebow. And this is nothing against Tebow at all. He's done some amazing things, and so I have no problem with him. I know he is the messenger when it comes to this scenario, right? But basically, they are bringing the 5-hour limit back for Plus accounts. And if you're using the Pro account or the business or whatever, I don't think this applies to you. But most people who use the paid version of OpenAI use the Plus account. And to be 100% real, you can look this up, it is a very small amount of people, like less than 5% of people in the world that use the paid version of these AI tools anyway, right? So you have to think when it comes to using the paid version, how many people are actually using the paid version versus the Pro version, like the $100 plan and the $200 plan. And the reason why I say they woke up and chose violence is because they are playing with our feelings and they are masking it in, you know, the glow of, well, we wanted to do the right thing. So Tebow says, tomorrow we will bring back the 5-hour limit for Plus accounts across ChatGPT and Work and Codex. I had mentioned this a while ago, but postponed it. Now I'm going to read it as it is, and I'm going to tell you what I actually see, how my brain picks this apart. Okay, so it says this is necessary as A, the 5-hour limit allows us to smoothen the load on our compute, allowing to keep the plan generous in terms of weekly usage, and B, users on the Plus plan are relatively casual and new users, but then also just accidentally eat through their whole week's usage and then are confused, making it not a great experience. We are, for the upcoming months, keeping the 5-hour limit not enabled for the Pro 100 and 200 subscriptions. So when I see this, right? When I see this information, this is what I see. You know, when I'm reading past the bullshit, and again, it's not Tebow I'm calling out, it's OpenAI. Playing with our feelings. They playing with our emotions. You know what I'm saying? Play with my emotions, Smokey. You know, play with my emotions. It's like playing with my money. All right, so when it comes to this, I see generous and I see great experience. And they flipped it. So I'm gonna flip it back because the way that I read it is you're saying that you're giving us the 5-hour limit because you want us to have a great experience and you want to continue to be generous. Now I call bullshit on that. And so many other people, I mean, so many people, I don't know how this got 13,000 likes. That's crazy because so many people are complaining about this and I'm with them because what it does is it throttles us and it limits us. And this is why I put in here, no, don't bring this limit throttle back. It puts way too much pressure to use or lose it. So use it or lose it. It's adding that pressure to it. I don't want to be pressured to use ChatGPT Work every day just to maximize my subscription. What I loved about using ChatGPT, since they took this limit out of the mode, right? Since they took this out of the scenario was, and somebody else said it, like the college student said it. I don't know which one. I'm not going to go through all these, but a college student basically was like, you know, some days I need it and some days I don't. And I love that. To me, it was good. It was like a piece of freedom when it comes to using the AI, right? I could choose if I wanted to use my 100% subscription, you know, within or my 100% weekly limit in 1 or 2 days. Or if I wanted to stagger it out and use it over a couple of days. I like that freedom because it allowed me as a human being, we're already fighting this turmoil of human versus AI. So as a human being, I still want to, you know, get up, get out and do something, as they say. You know, I want to be able to move and not be in front of my computer, not be on my phone using the AI tool. And when you have a scenario like this, right? When you have a scenario like this, you cannot risk losing that subscription, you know, amount because it's that if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And for the most part, I've done my testing when it comes to Claude Code and ChatGPT. I'm not even gonna say for the most part, I have done my testing when it comes to both. And this is just a rule of thumb. If you use that 5-hour limit, it's gonna eat up 20% of your weekly usage. So you have 5 times to use a full 5-hour limit, okay? You have 5 times to use a full 5-hour limit. But remember, in this scenario, if you don't use it, you lose it. And the problem is that it forces you to have to wait around or do the trick or hack that some people do where we trigger the AI. So when we know we're not gonna use it for the next few hours, we'll use it to trigger it. So it starts the 5-hour window and then we can go in and use it as we please within that 5 hours. I don't like that. That is too much mental, psychological games there. I'm dead serious. It's bullshit. I do not like that. I like the ability to be able to breathe and use it when I want to use it. Antigravity has a weekly usage. They used to have the 5-hour. They removed that to weekly, right? Claude still has the 5-hour. Codex, I thought, set the standard, and I thought that, you know, Google followed that. And I thought that was going to be the new standard moving forward. So to see this, to wake up and see this, I was highly disappointed in OpenAI, because I have talked very good about them over the past few months in terms of their changes and them catering to their customers and their users more than their stakeholders, right? I'm just being real with you, you know, and their investors. But now it turns around. It turned upside down. And this message to me is like, nah, bruh, I don't feel this. Again, not Tebow, but I see what you're trying to do here. Smoothen the load on our compute. So basically it's about y'all. Fine, listen, fine. It is what it is. But don't try to play games with the whole generosity part, because I am grateful that you are generous when it comes to the resets. Thank you. You know, we appreciate that. I appreciate that. But when it comes to the great experience, no, this worsens the experience because it makes me tethered to the app. I don't want to be tethered to your app, to your AI. I don't like that. You're already creating this ecosystem like Apple and Google and Microsoft where, you know, you want us to be inside of it and you don't want us to play outside of it in certain ways. Now, I'm not saying that verbatim because I know some of y'all be like, but there's MCPs and you can do this and do that. Listen, trust me, we're going to get to the strategy that I'm doing because I was already working on that. But now this just pushed me to the edge when it came to that scenario. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of this. I think this is BS. I'm hoping they get enough pushback. And somebody mentioned it about it being a test. And I swear I thought the same thing before I even looked at it. But oh yeah, hold on. I'm in relevant. Let me go to recent, right? Because I was in recent when I saw some of the comments. Look, it's more. I forgot Twitter is like Twitter. Hey, Twitter be on it. If y'all ever want to know what's going on in the hood, hey, Twitter be doing you good. You got to go to Twitter for this stuff, right? You got to know what's going on. Because I used to think it was just forums and stuff. No, it be Twitter. All right, am I gonna find it? I might not find it. Because listen, people are tweeting like a mug right now because now it's more the afternoon time. Now you got the West Coast involved, East Coast, you know, North and South. You got all the coasts involved. But for lack of a better term, my mindset was like, okay, you're testing us. You are testing to see whether people are going to stay as they are, downgrade, or upgrade. This has to be a test. Masked as great experience and generosity, because to smoothen the load on our compute. And somebody literally put a image of one of his posts saying that we have enough compute. You know what I'm saying? We got the juice now. You got the juice now. But what I'm saying is that it's an interesting phenomenon here, what's happening. And they are playing with our emotions, like they playing with our money. Smokey off of Friday. I don't, you know, big worm. I don't like all that. So I'm glad that before I saw this post, I watched this video by Corbin, and I'm going to shout him out because he has helped me out so much as a content creator, not personally, but watching his content. I've learned a lot from him. Some things he's saying, he's just going shoo, right over the head, but that just lets me know how intelligent he is and how much and how hard he works to learn and bring it to us. And that's what I do to y'all too. I consolidate so much information from my favorite creators and educators, and I try to bring it to you all the way that I think about it, the way that I would use it, okay? And Corbin made this video when it came to MCP versus SDK. Now, to give him his credit, but to also let you know, yes, a lot of this is wrapped around Zapier's SDK because he's sponsored by Zapier. But nah, I ain't mad at that. Get your money, bruh. Get your money, get your money. But the methodology, that part I took from. And I want to share with you all what I'm going to do, and then you can take my methodology. You don't have to use the tools I'm using, but you can take my methodology and apply it the way you want to apply it. I want you to look at this video so you can get an understanding more about MCP and SDK. If you don't know what that means, please look it up, y'all, because I can't keep making videos where I'm explaining everything every time. I be wanting to get to the dime. However, the method applies a lot to what I'm getting ready to say. So when it comes to this scenario, what I've been doing is I started working on a way to be more agnostic. And I've already been doing this. And this is the reason why I keep telling y'all, and I'm gonna keep telling people and my folks, use projects. You wanna use local projects. All that stuff in the cloud, that's how you stay stuck in their ecosystem. When you use local projects, you can use a ChatGPT, which I have here on the left side, ChatGPT. On the right side, and I know a lot of y'all who watched my previous Google video are probably like, but Maestro, I thought you don't use Google. And that's why I'm making this video, right? Not to correct myself, but to let you know what my main plan is, being model agnostic, meaning I'm not letting any model, nobody's water affecting my output, right? My pipeline, whatever my pipeline is and where I want it to land, your water ain't gonna affect that. I'm just gonna change water suppliers. That's it. I'm just gonna change water suppliers. And I'm gonna do with the water what I want to do and where it ends up. But I'm not gonna stick to your whole thing and ecosystem because you guys fluctuate. These AI tools fluctuate at any day, at any moment, and that is what it is. So what I've done is, instead of using Zapier, because Zapier, he's using the Zapier SDK, but Zapier also is an automation platform, and they have integrated themselves or expanded themselves into the AI realm, but they started out as an automation integration platform. I'm using an automation integration platform called AutoKit, and AutoKit has MCP servers, just like Zapier does, right? Now, AutoKit does not have an SDK, but what I learned from talking to my AI agent right here, ChatGPT, right? I'm not using Hermes or OpenClaw right now, I'm just using ChatGPT. What I learned is I can make my own SDK or my own MCP client layer, right? And I've created this plan to where I'm going to use automation tool, AutoKit, for example. You use whatever you want to use. I'm not sponsored by them. I just have a lifetime deal. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm so tired of subscriptions, subscription this, subscription that. If you are a solopreneur watching this, a content creator, you're not going to be able to keep up with all your subscriptions. They say if your income, or no, if your outgo is bigger than your, no, if your income is bigger, how do they say that? If your outgo is bigger than income, your upkeep will be your downfall. Yeah, if your outgo is bigger than your income, your upkeep will be your downfall. I had to rethink about that because it's a saying I've heard many times, but I get it wrong sometimes. Meaning that, like, if you ain't making enough money, the things that are coming out are gonna hurt you. And that's where subscriptions come in. Apple wants you on a subscription. Microsoft wants you on a subscription. Cars want you on a subscription. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants you on a subscription. Everything is renting now. You will not be able to sustain your business if you're renting or on subscriptions for everything you do. Things have changed. Now, yes, there is a cost to doing business. You must pay money to do business. It is what it is. You can't do business for free, y'all. Don't even try to go that route. However, how can we mitigate and minimize and be efficient in many different ways? So my way of doing that is to use an automation platform outside of a ChatGPT or Claude Code. And this is why I employ y'all. I'm telling y'all, being in the scheduled using these scheduled tools right here, right? And using the automations within the platform, of course they want you to do that. And you can do that. It's easier, but that convenience is gonna cost you. Convenience can cost you. And it can cost you when they pull some BS and now your stuff is all built in their stuff, and now you have to migrate all your stuff out of, when I say stuff like your automations, outside their platform. It's the same thing when it comes to sites, right? ChatGPT sites sound sexy, but it's in their platform. Right? That's what I'm saying. The projects in the ChatGPT chat version, right? If you're using the web app and you're using projects inside the web app and not projects that are local on your computer, it sounds sexy, but you're in their ecosystem. What I like about projects inside of the apps themselves is I can connect any AI platform that has the local capability, right? Like a Cursor, Antigravity, Claude Code, ChatGPT Work, and connect it to my local project on my computer. So again, any time that the water supplier wants to do some crazy stuff, I change supplier until I feel like it's safe to go back to that supplier because I don't have time for it. So that's why I'm telling y'all this is very important for you to know, because I want you all to be efficient. I want you to be efficient when you're using these tools. And here's the thing. There's a cost to every AI model. This is not a situation where it's getting cheaper. It's getting more expensive to use front tier models. Now, I'm not talking about, the lower tier. I'm talking about the front tier, high tier models. This is Deep Sweet. I've shared this before, but this is how you can always get a glimpse on the front tier model versus the average cost per task and how you want to use that. And being model agnostic, meaning maybe you use 2 or 3 models depending on their strengths and weaknesses when it comes to using them within your own internal app or using them with an external app. Maybe you're building an app for other users. Maybe you're only building an app for yourself on your computer. You still want to be mindful of how much that's going to cost. I cannot stress this enough, y'all. I'm telling you. So that's why I came up with a plan within ChatGPT, and then I also use Antigravity to kind of like help back this up. And don't worry about this. This is a project. So somebody's like, you're showing your project ID. I'm gonna delete this. Don't worry about it. I just wanted to see, did I have Lovable connected correctly as an MCP to Antigravity, which I do. I also have my plugin. I have Lovable connected in ChatGPT as well. That's also a part of my strategy. So I'll do this. Why does it do that? That gets annoying. Every time I close this and open it, it automatically opens up recents. Why do you do that? Stop doing that. Stay closed. It's so annoying sometimes that, but in terms of plugins, I learned something new. So maybe this is a refresher for somebody. Maybe somebody's learning something new and it can get confusing. Plugins is a bundle. It's a bundle package. It's a bundle package of apps, skills, and what else? Something else. Oh, and MCPs, right? So if I go here, you can see I have plugins, I have apps, I have MCPs. It got very confusing for me, so I had to understand it, right? And now you see this AutoKit plugin. The cool thing about this is I made this custom. So when it came to plugins, if you go back here and I click add, you can go to create plugin, but I didn't have to do that. I did that right within the chat thread itself, right? But you can create your own plugin. So I had ChatGPT create me a plugin that bundled my MCP right here. It bundled AutoKit, right? And then once it did that, it created did it create the app? It created an app. Now, this is one thing I had to learn too. When you turn this off as of right now, in this video, this may change later, this will disappear. And you're like, well, what happens to it if it disappears? I don't know. But once you turn this off, I know it disappeared and I didn't like that at all. So that was something that kind of annoyed me. But in terms of the plugins, I created my own personal plugin right here, my AutoKit tie, which is tied to my MCP server URL right here. So they're connected together. So I have my plugin in here. And then I also have my skill. I have a skill in here as well. So we have a skill here. We have the app here, right? And it's connected. So that way I can mitigate and minimize the token usage, right? Because when you're using MCPs, when you're using the plugins and it's connected to the MCP, that the MCP itself may not be doing as much, even though it does do a lot of tool calling unnecessarily. And depending on the server, there's all types of developer jargon I can't even get into. That ain't my job. That's why you got to listen to Corbin and other people like that. But I can tell you right now, his video was about that, efficiency. It's less tokens when you use the SDK versus when you use the MCP. I mean, so much less tokens. And that's something that I appreciated that he called out, okay, in the scenario. So that's why I'm like, okay, if I can mitigate my token usage, which I need to, because it's going to get more expensive, and I use different apps, right? That $20, that $100, it ain't cheap when you add this up over the year, and then you have all your other third-party tools and apps that cost money. I don't give a damn what nobody says. It ain't cheap, man. Not for solopreneurs. Now, if you are a enterprise or a small business and you have the capability of spending more because you're bringing in more, right? You're scaled out a little bit more than a solopreneur content creator. That's different. This may not apply to you, but I guarantee you, even some of you want to do this as well too. So that's why I said, let me save the integration part, right? Where I connect my tools. If I go to manage tools here, I connect my tools to an automation platform like a AutoKit, Zapier, N8N, what else? Make, right? These are just a few tools. I connect those to that, and then I connect that MCP to any AI app or platform that I'm using, whether it's my own personal one or it's a ChatGPT, Antigravity, Claude Code, Cursor. The list goes on and on and on, right? Whatever you do. Hopefully this is making sense for somebody, right? If you haven't liked the channel already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I said like the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you feel about this, because I'm telling y'all, this to me is going to be one of the best ways you can be more efficient in your scenario. And plus I need some love to bruh, man, need love too, right? Now, when it comes to using Lovable, this is where I'm saying I don't want to rely on ChatGPT sites, right? And the beautiful part about ChatGPT sites is because you can already create applications inside of a ChatGPT or a Claude Code. You can already do that, but being able to share that application in a public facing view, right? That's a little different to be able to do that. That's where sites comes in. That's just one of the benefits, but that's where sites come in, right? And that's why I'm saying I don't want to play in their wheelhouse all the time for that, because if I decide not to use ChatGPT, like right now, I canceled my Claude Code for the moment, my Claude subscription for the moment, because I like the way that Antigravity has upped its game. And I also like the fact that 3.7 now has low, medium, high, and it's actually pretty good. I got to give that to them. The problem is that Antigravity or Google has way too many. It has Gemini, it has Antigravity, and then it has Antigravity IDE. I don't like that. But in terms of using this as a backup, as a second opinion, I use it as both a backup and a second opinion when I'm working with ChatGPT, which has been my main app, because they didn't have that 5-hour. It's gotten a lot smarter. It's very efficient, right? As you can see, we have, what is it? Soul right here. That's very efficient. Gemini, efficient. Luna, efficient, right? It says most efficient. That's why I'm saying efficient. As much as I like Claude, they've lost their way. You know, it's the opposite of the Mandalorian saying, this is not the way. Claude is not the way right now. Now I know somebody's gonna get on me, but Maestro, Claude is this and Claude has that. And I'm like, listen, man, you can do whatever. You can be loyal to whoever you want to be loyal to. I need to be loyal to the bottom line. because they're being loyal right here. They're being loyal to their bottom line. So you can do whatever you want to do, but I'm being loyal to my businesses and my, we'll say, activities bottom line. What I'm doing with my business and my personal life, that's what I'm more loyal to anything. And then also to my users like you all, and my audience, right? The folks who watch me, the people who, my network. I want to be more loyal to being honest with you guys than just trying to promote something that I know I'm not rocking with right now, right? So in terms of Lovable, that's why I'm saying I've connected Lovable to ChatGPT. So if I go back to plugins, we say Lovable, we see it right here. I've also connected Lovable as an MCP and Antigravity as well. So if I go here, go to customizations, and you can see here, I have Lovable. So you can see I have Lovable, I have my AutoKit here, I have my linear, I have my GitHub. Same thing when it comes to ChatGPT. I'm speaking of the desktop app to be specific. Same thing here. And so I like to mimic both scenarios and have it the way where it's agnostic. I'm not dependent on one tool. So hopefully that makes sense for somebody. Like if they're asking, well, why am I using an automation platform when you can do automations or schedules still it's automations. You can do automations in Claude Code. You can do automations in ChatGPT, because I don't want to rely on them for my entire ecosystem. Because if I decide to cancel my plan or not to work with them, something can happen. And the last thing I want is for my business to be affected because another corporate company is being greedy, or stakeholders want their money, investors want their money. That's fine. I'm not mad at that, but we gonna play the game how the game is supposed to be played. All right. And then when it comes to Lovable, it does not matter what you use. Replit, was it Bolts? It does not matter what you use, but just know that if you decide to put all your eggs in the basket of these tools, you're up to their discretion. When they make changes and they make decisions, you have to move to the drum or to the beat of their drum. You got to move to the beat of their drum. And I'm not for that. I'm not for that at all. So hopefully somebody got something out of this video. That's all I wanted to share with you all, because this is some BS. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that at all. Adding the weekly limit, adding pressure to us Plus users, because I told people that the $20 plan in ChatGPT is almost equal to the $100 plan in Claude Code in terms of how much usage you're going to get. Now, I'm not saying that has or hasn't changed. What I'm saying is once they took away the 5-hour limit, it created a standard and it allowed me freedom to breathe, to not have to be in front of my computer using this AI tool, or not having to create schedules, right? Like before, I would create a schedule at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So that way, or 5 o'clock in the morning, or 4 o'clock in the morning. So that way, when I woke up, my 5-hour clock already started, and I didn't have to start the clock. I don't want to have to do all that. That's doing too much. That's doing way too much. We don't have time for it, so we got to do what we have to do. But yeah, man, shout outs to you all. I appreciate you all watching this. That's what I wanted to share with you all. Tell me what you think in the comments. My name is Maestro Stevens with Iconic Templates, and I'm out. Peace.